Welcome to Crescent City with your hosts Natalie Jean and Jackie Zabrowski.
You haven't had one that looked bad to me.
I mean, anyone that are really, really bad, I just don't bring in. But
That one that I have that's the guy's long black hair wig is horrible, and I know I paid more for it than that.
that's the problem. That's the problem. Is it's just like unless you pay a bunch,
We pay like 200 something more plus for like what, a joke about being a dude in this. I'm never gonna wear it otherwise. You know,
Maybe you should start.
oh my god, this this hairline. The hairline on this wig is what makes it look the worst because it's just like a big folded flap. There's no lace front, of course, because this is
What that
$10
doesn't have
wig.
that doesn't have a lace
It
front.
does
It's not a
not.
lace front wig. It really looks like it.
If it had
Could be
it,
one.
it would look like real hair.
What is it? Super Saiyan? This is, oh god, it's the saddest. I'm the least manga. It's Super Saiyan, right? Super Saiyan?
Oh
Something
no,
like that. Where Dragon Ball Z, when
Oh,
they move
yes,
really,
you're
really
right.
fast, that's what you look like. No, you look like the Heat Miser. You look like you're dressed like the Heat Miser. And
I
not,
look like a sensual sprite.
you're Mr. Heat Miser. You're Mr. Cute Lady.
That's not
what it
making it better for
Is
me
that-
because I'm frowning and I look more like him now.
You do look more like him the more you frown. Frown harder, you big, beautiful ball of heat. Harder, frown harder.
I strained
don't
my
remember
face.
any of the. I'm trying to look up. I missed a green Christmas. I missed a sun. I missed a heat blister. I missed a 101. I don't remember. I just know I'm Mr. Heat Miser, which apparently he never says.
Well, you can just say it.
Interesting how he tries to go about it rather than him being like a hell freak. He's like, no, I'm the one that grows the plants. Fuck off, Heat Miser. You're trying to give me this bullshit at Christmas time?
Well, we're
No.
coming in hot with anger towards something I'm not even really paying attention to.
How dare you? Sometimes, Natalie, you gotta choose something and you gotta feel a lot about it. And I never knew I had this many thoughts about Heat Miser. And thank you for asking. Thank you for asking me how I felt about him.
I'm just here to bring out all of the things that you are storing inside of yourself with my different costumes that will relate to different things from your childhood that were upsetting.
Yes. And, well, it wasn't upsetting necessarily.
Or
you
was
know?
it? Think more.
Oh my god, it's why I've been scared of fire. Not because of the burns. Never because of the burns.
Oh, you love the burns.
Yeah, you're Mr. Heat Miser. I guess I gotta get over it if I'm gonna be sitting next to the Heat Miser for the next hour and change.
Look, it sort of looks like fire. If I'm
Whoa,
being-
actually, you know what that does? You're making a flicker flacker with your hair right now. For those of you that can't see Natalie, she is, I don't want to say attempting, I'm going to say successfully. Dressing
Thriving.
up, dressed as Lehba, and you are killing it.
It's, you can take a couple notes.
It's better than what I was looking at when I was thinking about making my Lehba costume, and we will see that at some point during this season because I got some stuff for it, and I was like, I'm gonna look dumb. But you know who didn't do that? Natalie Jean, and I'm impressed.
No, I don't look. I look.
I'm
I am
impressed
the
with you.
picture of next to in the dictionary, not dumb. and
Not-
then it's
no,
me.
It is you. It is you dressed like this, and you. I love that you're just like sometimes you just gotta jump. You just gotta see what the character is gonna be.
The net will appear.
Yeah, you're right.
And then it's going to take you to the mental institution.
Yes.
But it will appear.
Then you'll see it. Maybe other people won't see it, but man, I'm really proud of you, Natalie, for really going for the gusto.
Thank
on this.
you. Thank
And
you.
with all the flame makeup too, you did a great job.
This would look better under black light. I'm going to say that. This is
You
the
mean,
opposite.
with us doing a bunch of ecstasy.
Yeah, I mean, we have black lights behind us, but you can't tell, really.
We do also have a brand new, for those of you watching, we do have a brand new White Raven light behind us.
Ooh.
Because Natalie is going to be crafting quite the scene of our background as time goes on.
We might see more things pop up on this wall as we go.
I'm excited about it. It's like we're on the city streets. Yeah, you can't F with us, boys. Although, especially with me today, dressed as the Viper Queen, you're
You look great.
welcome.
This lip, by the way, is perfect with this green. Like the
Thank
green and the
you.
purple are flowing together.
Also, I'm just going to take this moment and say I have heard a lot that purple and green don't go together, that they are Joker colors.
Oh,
I think they
whatever.
look great together.
Does the Joker?
Thank you. Thank you.
do-
I think they look great together.
Do Marvel and DC have to
Right?
take over everything in the world? Does everything have to be under the lens?
I think when you're mostly green, a nice purple lip pops.
of course.
Come at me.
He doesn't own those colors.
What are you going to like color spectrum theory at my ass? Go ahead, do it. I was wearing like a bright blue pant the other day because bright blue pant is in, but I don't wear a lot of light clothes. And I kept putting on different tops and Jeff's like, well, that doesn't go with it because it's like a primary color and doesn't go with other and I was like, but then what does it go with? I don't understand color theory. I guess I could look at a color wheel.
Yeah, but you still, sometimes you just got to feel it out. Because sometimes things that aren't supposed to go together, I still look really good together, in my opinion.
I certainly, I definitely sometimes look at my outfits. I'm like, well, I am dressing. Some days I'm dressing to really like bring out 15-year-old me. And some days I feel like I'm dressing to bring out like 6 or 7-year-old me.
Yeah.
Because, also then wearing shit I didn't want to wear. And so I'm really taking back. It's just, you know what, guys? It's me taking back.
I recommend that to everyone. Embrace whatever parts of your childhood you either clothes that you wanted that you couldn't afford or you couldn't get, clothes that made you feel insecure, but now you kind of want to retry. Like, do it. Who gives a care?
Yeah, Natalie. Wow. Ouch. Hurts my ears. Who gives a care?
Yeah.
Who gives a care?
I said it.
Thank you. Thank you, Natalie, for being the one to tell us what we needed to hear today.
Well, when we're dressed this way, we can't just talk about clothes. We need to talk about Crescent City.
No, we need to talk about the meat market, bitches. Me this morning, I put on the Viper Queen because I was trying to seduce my husband as the Viper Queen because I think the Viper Queen's really sexy. But let's be real, he doesn't know the character of the Viper Queen. And then I started being like, ooh, I run the meat market where anything you can sell can be sold. And he's like, is that supposed to turn me on?
It's not sexy.
It's like, I don't know if that's doing what you think it's doing.
You can fuck a corpse there.
Oh, whatever you want. Yeah, it's just a bag of meat. Come on. And I think it's sexy, but apparently it's not as sexy on the outside if people don't know the character.
I mean, he passed a very important test that you want for a partner.
Yes.
For them to not go, wait, anything?
Yeah, you know what? You're right. I should have done this before we got married. What if I found out now that he's like into, effing a corpse bag, and then I'm like, oh God, what do? I gotta get rid of my husband.
Yeah, I gotta get rid of him really fast.
If you find out your partner wants to fuck a corpse bag, you gotta get rid of the partner.
You do. I'm sorry, not to kink shame. But that is probably a line.
I meant like an actual one, Kinks aside.
What? So you feel like if he wanted a real doll of an obvious dead body and he wanted to have sex with it, you could make it work?
Not me personally. But maybe some people, I try never to kink shame. But then if you think about the actuality of it, it's like, no, I'd have a pretty big problem with it.
I'd have a hard time.
Yeah, I'd probably, I'm glad we talked this out here.
Yeah. Yep. So the people who go to the meat market, they don't have shame about their kinks. They go and with gusto.
You come on over to me, children.
That's Viper Queen? That's her voice? Okay.
Come on over to me, children. That's her catchphrase.
God. So we're at the start of chapter 18. We're outside the meat market, and Hunt has chased Bryce down because in the last chapter, she had told him, oh, I'm going to bed now. She wasn't going to bed. She basically evaded him for about 30 minutes. She snuck out the back, got on her scooted all the way down to the meat market.
That's the town.
Yeah, and Bryce kind of knew he was going to find her. She's not shocked when he just slams to the ground.
I mean, he's very good at his job.
He's very good. But he's peeved. He's PO'd at her. He's mad.
Oh, no.
He told her not to go after the Viper Queen without protocols in place.
Oh, no. That's upset.
He's so mad. But she quickly corrects him. She's not going to see the Viper Queen. She has some other stuff to do. So get over yourself, Hunt Athalar.
Take that, Hunt. But he doesn't have time to reprimand her right now because they've got other things to do.
And she's not stopping, so he's got to follow her because he doesn't really have a choice.
No.
So we're with Hunt in this scene, and his thoughts are he's just fuming. He's so angry, but she's very unimpressed with his anger. A lot of people would be afraid of Hunt in that situation, but not Bryce. She's not like the others.
No, she's not like the other girls.
He has, he has little choice but to follow her into the meat market, and it's interesting smells and sights. I get a sense of my visuals of it as like an evil flea market.
Yeah, like one of the really big flea markets, though.
Yeah. I feel like
Santee Alley.
Well, that's what I put in that's what I said. I don't want to make it sound like I'm insulting Santee Alley in Los Angeles.
Love Santee Alley.
Because Santee Alley is a place in Los Angeles where they have a bunch of stalls where things may or may not have fallen off the back of a truck. And there's like, I don't know, blocks and blocks of it. And there's literally hundreds of these stalls that you can go to. And they're not selling creepy. It's like a cute version of the meat market.
Yes. Yeah. It's not as much like it's not. I don't think you can get human meat at Santee Alley.
I mean, I haven't found that block yet, if that's the case. Or maybe you need a
we
code
haven't been
word.
asking. I think I think that we need to know who to talk to and how to ask for it. And you know what? I'm proud of us that we don't.
Yeah, I'm proud of us too. But now we need to try.
Yeah.
Let's go insult everybody who's selling stuff.
You got human meat. Hey, you got tortoise back there? Give me. I want it on the half shell. My turtle power.
Santee Alley does not sell food in general, but maybe somewhere they do.
Yeah.
Because at the meat market, there's a bunch of definitely hidden doorways and stuff.
Right? They're not going to put all the illegal things just right out in the front. If you want like an endangered lizard, you got to go up into some sort of crate in the back room.
Right. You got to find your way there because they have to hide it from all of the authorities.
Telling me I can't have my lizards anymore.
Also, it's just kind of more fun. If you're going to get something like contraband, don't you want to have to like do like an Indiana Jones thing?
Yeah, I feel sad for the people that use the dark web because then like they're not having the fun human interaction side of it.
I do feel really sad for people who use the dark web. That's got to be really hard.
Yeah, and lonely.
Very lonely. In fact, they might have already burned all their bridges and isolated themselves against everyone they've ever known.
That part of the problem.
Yeah. So they're in the meat market, even though it's kind of shanty-like and a little dirty, there's still this big mosaic displaying death with a scythe and an hourglass. And it has the inscription Memento Mori, basically to suggest that, hey, you're going to die. You might as well enjoy your time.
Live while you're living.
No. Some kind of like jazz playing in the background.
Yeah, this is a classy establishment.
So Carpe Noctem, if you will. Give yourself over to absolute pleasure.
Wow. Is that from
Rocky Horror?
Ah, gotcha.
Swim the warm waters of sins of the flesh.
Wow.
Erotic nightmares.
Looking at you dressed like this,
Beyond any
singing this,
measures.
I don't know if it's giving what you want it to give,
And
but it's giving
sensual
something.
daydreams to treasure forever.
Hell yeah. Wow. Oh my God. Tim Curry, you're back.
I know a lot of you are singing along with me right now. And you know what, too?
I hope that you look like Natalie does as well while you're singing along.
I bet you are.
Yeah.
I agree to an extent with this ideology, this theory, as long as you're not causing harm to others. And it seems like a lot of the stuff in the meat market might be hurtful to people.
Yeah, I think it's real bad.
As Hunt is taking a sweep around, look with his eyes, like looking over the hall, Bryce clomps past him, and he glances at the back of her leather jacket. Through love, all is possible is hand-painted on the back.
Such a pretty phrase was a fucking joke in a place like this.
He obviously doesn't think highly of this place, and why would he? From what we've heard, it's a place really only sadists would enjoy fully.
Because like I love being bad girl, but I don't like being like doing bad girl things.
Well, you don't like doing evil-ish things. You don't want people to be hurt. Like, they have, as we'll get into, they have fighting pits.
Yeah.
And it's not
Surprise, I'm not that big into fighting pits.
I took you for a fighting pit kind of
I
gal.
know, I do I'm like, ugh, let them fight to the death. And usually it's over me and my dignity, but that's a whole separate.
That's a whole, that's something.
That's not
Again,
a meat market.
We need to talk. Next costume I bring in, you can work through that.
Ooh, okay. Oh, not in a good way.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, because, especially in these kind of fighting pits, it's not people who are enjoying boxing. It's like people bare knuckle, like fighting for a debt they owe or something.
Yeah, it's not
That's
fun.
not cool. Also, I feel like this is a place where they would have like chicken fights and stuff, and that makes me upset.
At least they never bring up any kind of like dog fighting or anything else like that. I'm gonna say it. I'd rather watch the humans fight to the
course.
death than watch dogs fight to the death. Is a sad thing to admit.
No. At least the people have some autonomy in that situation. I don't know. I think SJM is a big dog lover, so I don't think she would ever do that.
And thank God. Thank God.
Oh, they're good. So, as Hunt follows her through the rows of stands, he notices that she nods and greets different vendors on the way, as though they know each other, that they're familiar with one another. She sees him marking this and turns to inform him that she's sent here often to help Jessica procure certain things and seal the deals on others.
Of course, Jessica sends her rather than dealing with it herself. Why would she? She would never have to steep down.
Well, it seems like she really brought Bryce on because of her social abilities. Like, that she needed somebody who could be a little eye candy.
People person.
A little easy on the eyes.
Oh, yeah. Not like Jessica ain't.
No, but she's too established to like have to go do all the hoofing.
I feel like if you're hundreds of years old, like, do you want to flirt anymore? Like, or is all of that dead?
I think, well, she has a lot of sex, we learn.
Oh, we know that, but like,
She sort of just goes, you.
I think it's that. I'm talking about like the actual like art of seduction.
Right.
Do you really want to do that if you're hundreds of years old?
Nah, I go, come here. You come over
you
here.
choose rather than
And
asking.
they go, okay.
I mean, if you
And
look
they
like
thank
Jessica,
you.
if Jessica
Yeah.
pointed at me and was like, "You're gonna have sex with me," I go, "Yes, ma'am. Anything you say, ma'am."
Yes. And she also mentions that she gets Syrinx durian fruit there, which is cute. Have you ever had durian?
You know, I haven't, but I was looking at one. I was at this place called the 99 Ranch Market, which is an amazing Asian market, and they've got insane like the fish department is insane. And I was kind of thinking about just buying random things and being like, how do I cook this? But I didn't because I was worried about wasting the food.
That's scary. I'd be scared of it.
Yeah,
Durian's fruit, though.
yeah, I know, but isn't it really stinky?
It is. It smells.
But it tastes good, but it's very stinky.
It's so weird. It smells sort of like death, but it tastes like vanilla pudding.
Weird. So do you just plug up your nose?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of just, once it's in your mouth, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's very strange, but I recommend everybody trying it at least
I would
once.
definitely try it.
He then starts to follow her as she winds up going to a rickety staircase. There's a second floor mezzanine overlooking all of the stalls on in the warehouse floor. And so she kind of goes up to the second floor, and along the mezzanine, it has all these closed doors. I like imagine it looking like the mezzanine in like a hotel, but like shoddier. That's what I'm seeing. And so she walks, and he's just sort of having to follow along behind her. He doesn't really know what she's doing.
Honestly, I feel like I'm seeing something in like Deadwood in this too.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
almost like one of those
Weird. I was
old
thinking about
brothels.
Deadwood too.
Really?
You know why? Because I feel like I'm supposed to hate the Viper Queen, but she's
Like Swearingen.
Like Swearingen.
You kind of do like the bad one. I love I know we shouldn't like the Viper Queen. She's very evil, but I like the confidence. I like the swagger. I like being in me like, yeah, I'm a fucking woman and I run all this shit.
But
love
also,
it.
like, there's the way that the character Swearingen is written into the show. If you guys have never watched Deadwood, you fucking absolutely
you
should. You
should.
just stop
Even if you're
listening
like,
to
I
this
don't
and go
care
watch
about
it.
like cowboys, I don't care about the Old West. It's just really, really.
Oh my god,
good.
it's one of the best shows ever. But Swearingen becomes you. It's like one of those
Sorry, I
characters.
just poured cold seltzer down my breasts, and I didn't mean to make that sound.
I just thought you were doing it for Swearingen.
No, I mean, but also, yeah.
Because he has that sort of, you could never imagine him redeeming himself for how he acts, but then they figure out a way to write it in, and that's kind of how I feel about the Vibe Queen. I literally was thinking that when I was writing this, because I feel as though she does these horrendous things, but then is there this, how can you redeem that? And sometimes you find really weird ways, because if you don't spoil it, but if you don't know how Swearingen gets redeemed on the show,
Oh man,
it's fucking crazy.
It's great. Oh god, now I just want to watch Deadwood
I
again.
know.
No, we can't.
No, we can't.
Spooky
Nope,
season.
we're here. So she is walking down these this row of doors, and she stops at one eventually, and he's just like, oh god, what are we doing? She kind of opens this door without being invited in, and then suddenly we're in a dark, smoky room. And it is a satyr. And a satyr is it's not just for this world, it's in our mythology.
Is Mr. Tumnus a satyr?
Who?
Mr. Tumnus from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh,
I'm sorry. He's a faun.
oh, he's a faun.
Faun. He's a faun.
So a satyr is a man with cloven hooves, furred legs, and little curling horns that kind of look like a goat's. And that's from Greek and Roman mythology. If you've ever read the actual short story of The Lawnmower Man that Stephen King wrote, I think that's a satyr. That's not anything like the movie The Lawnmower Man.
I was about to ask him a bunch of questions about that.
It's really weird. They just turned they kind of just took the name of his story and then said it was a Stephen King story, and it has nothing to do with the short story that Stephen King wrote. It's very strange.
Weird. And also for those of you that really are just begging me for the information, fawns and satyrs are both half man, half goat, but they serve different purposes in storytelling. Fawns are more, quote, out to get you than satyrs are, apparently.
Oh, fawns are good. I thought fawns were to
This is
seduce
even referenced
you.
in Lion, the Witch, and Wardrobe when Edmund says that everyone knows you can't trust a fawn, and it is a slight foreshadowing. Well, I won't get into Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe, but also if you haven't read Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe, you should.
Wait, so is a fawn the one in Midsummer Night's Dream?
Puck's a fairy.
Puck's a fairy. Well, fucking throw me in the dumpster then. I don't know what I'm talking about.
That's great. I was hoping you were going to say this today. It just picks you up, throws you in the dumpster.
I'd like to see you try.
Like in the beginning of Purple Rain. I can never get over the fact that in the beginning of Purple Rain, just randomly, they take a woman and they throw her into a dumpster.
I always forget that too, because I'm constantly only remembering the scene where he literally rubs her vagina.
Yeah. You know, it's not a movie you watch with the family.
No, please don't ever do that.
Although we watched it together.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just sort of on
That's
par.
different family,
It's
though.
canon. So they walk into this room with the
All right,
satyr.
satyr. All right, we're talking about satyrs.
Who sits in a room, and it's described again. It's pretty slummy. It's like worn down furniture. It's not a nice place. It's a crappy, slummy apartment. And the entirety of the meat market is described as that way. In this room in particular, though, Bryce seems to have gone in knowing that there is a special thing that this satyr, it becomes evident that the satyr specializes in one thing, and that's salts.
Oh.
You're like, oh, salts? What's the big
What,
deal?
for your food? What? You get some MSG. White salt, black salt, gray salt, in grains of every size, from near powder to flakes to great rough hunks of it. Salts for protection against darker powers, against demons.
Well, that's different kinds of salt.
Bitches, we need some salt.
But that's not what Bryce is here for this eve. The satyr looks worried at the sight of her. Like, he knows her and isn't happy to see her. I imagine that he has dealt with Jessica before.
Ugh.
I need the obsidian, she says. Uh-oh, the obsidian makes that sounds like it's an intense something or other. He is not happy at hearing this. he immediately denies that he has any of it in the first place, but she knows otherwise.
Shake him down, bitch. Shake him down.
This sounds like it might be a teensy bit illegal. She tells him a second time that she needs the stuff. 7 pounds, 7 ounces. Hunt thinks about the meaning behind this very specific weight request.
7, the holy number. Or unholy, depending on who was worshipping. 7 Asteri, 7 hills in their eternal city. 7 neighborhoods and 7 gates in Crescent City. 7 planets and 7 circles in hell, with 7 princes who ruled them, each darker than the last.
That's a lot of 7s.
It's a lot of 7s. It doesn't sound like jackpot to me.
Nope. Hunt's thoughts fill us in on what obsidian is. It is for summoning demons.
Whoa.
Demons from the place known as Hell, Hel, on Midgard. We don't exactly know what this means just yet, but it seems like it's actually a physical place where full-bodied creatures can enter and can come from.
What?
Which is, as far as I know, not Earth's hell, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, it lost an L somewhere, so maybe it's just moving really fast.
It took an L. It's unclear.
Do you feel like it's more weight on you to be funny at like dress as the Heat Miser? Like, do you think that like the Heat Miser might be like getting into your veins or anything?
Is the Heat Miser funny?
No.
Yeah, no. I think it's the opposite.
No,
Shouldn't
that's
I
why
just
I'm
be
worried
mad?
that like maybe that's why you get upset because you're being funny. You know, maybe like
I don't
there's
like
a war
it.
inside of your body.
I
that
am having
you're-
an internal war.
Yeah, and I wanted to make sure everyone was feeling for Natalie in this
Thank
time
you.
because like I know that you're really battling a lot on the inside.
Yeah. So is it connected to the Earth's hell? We don't know. Unclear, but it sounds pretty spooky.
Sounds scary.
I don't like it. Hunt is internally shocked at this turn of events. It's clear from his reaction that obsidian isn't a safe or common thing to procure. Or summoning demons is a safe thing to do.
Yeah, probably not.
He thinks about the damage that can be caused trying to summon a demon. The summoner is at risk, and sometimes the demon can escape.
Uh-oh.
Even though the rifts at the North and South Pole, where the demons actually came through in the first place, were now used to control their entry into this world. They were sealed during a Great War.
And this does not mean that Santa Claus is a demon, although I think we
isn't
could
he?
QED here and be like, maybe he slipped through, portal got closed, and now he's trapped here. And he's like, I guess I better give gifts to kids or else I'm going to rip them apart limb from limb.
That's the two options.
I would assume for a demon. You know,
Okay.
you got to be are you a good demon or a bad demon?
We don't know.
No, we don't.
But he shows up in everybody's house at night, which is pretty creepy.
All right, while you're sleeping?
Ugh, I don't like it.
No, I don't like it either. Get out of my chimney, bro. You demon. You gift demon.
They don't really know where these demons come from. They call it hell, but nobody's ever been there from this world. And they are big trouble when they are let loose in Midgard. Bad stuff happens, so they really try their best to not bring them into the world. So summoning one seems like a bad plan.
No, I want them to stay where they are.
We are to assume that the spindly clear creature that Bryce saw mauling that angel, that thing that killed her friends, is from hell. Hunt also thinks about how demons, well, what he says in essence is that sometimes loose demons a different veneer is kind of what he's suggesting in his thoughts.
That's why you don't really want more of them around.
No, and they create a mixed species creature, and those are known as demonici.
Yeah,
Is that how it's said in the audio?
if I remember correctly, yes.
So basically, when the demons they do this to other veneer, they create these creatures. These children of these unions are called demonici, and they are generally considered pariahs in society, which is really unfair. It's not their
unfair.
fault.
It is not their fault. Just because you're scared of them too, which I imagine they would be, because like I guess it would be difficult to know whatever powers you're gonna have because of the shake 'em up of the genes down yonder.
Sure, but
I'm a scientist again. I know I say
the
that a
shake 'em
lot.
ups. Yeah, it's unfair that they would just kind of abandon these creatures who didn't ask to be born.
Didn't ask for it.
The satyr dealing in this salt is clearly doing it illegally, but Hunt obeys Bryce's demand that he not interfere with this interaction. She tells the satyr he'd better cough it up. She knows he's got the obsidian, and then accuses him of selling it to Philip Briggs, something that helped him make his bombs. She goes on to tell him Jessica is waiting and threatens him with a time limit. So she's kind of pulling Jessica clout in to try to convince him, like, through threats to cough it up.
You smart girl. You smart.
Hunt doesn't know if this is true or not. He has no idea really what's happening. He's sort of just being taken along for this ride. So maybe Jessica is involved. He's just kind of watching and waiting to see what happens. Regardless, it works on the satyr. She spooks him enough to convince him to hand over the obsidian for 10,000 gold marks. They make their exchange, Bryce gloating as she and Hunt walk out the door. But as they do, they walk right into the Viper Queen.
That's me and my snake teeth.
That's pretty good.
Say, right?
I don't know what that is.
Right? A little bit.
The first sound, I think, was
Okay.
the right one.
I'll keep that.
Yeah, that's good.
Be
So,
scared of me is what I'm saying.
yeah, they are. She's waiting right outside the door of the satyr's shack. I don't know what you would call that place. His apartment?
Yeah.
As though she knows every single interaction that occurs in the
I
meat
do.
market.
I know who comes in. I know who comes out.
And so she's waiting for them. We see her for the first time, and she's in quite an imposing figure right away. She's called tall and, quote, moon-skinned, wearing a gold jumpsuit, large emerald hoop earrings, and has a chin-length black bob with dark purple full lips. Just like the Joker.
And I feel, I'm going to say this multiple times because I'm sure that I'm going to come back in as the Viper Queen, even though she might not need to come in as
Oh,
many
no, we have to
times.
continue to workshop our costumes. I'm going to come back probably as Lehiba, but like with some added.
I just want
elements.
more fits that I know that the Viper Queen would wear, that it's like, well, Jackie wouldn't wear them, but the Viper Queen would wear them. And then it gives me an opportunity to wear sluttier clothes. And then I'm like, well, it's good that I have them for the character.
Well, that's why cosplay's fun.
Yes. God, cosplay is fun.
Really
Join
is.
us.
Really is a good time. I haven't gotten to the commitment level where I'm buying the contact lenses for characters, but man, those would be cool contacts to have because she has snake slit eyes.
There are so, especially when SJM gets into all of their eyes, there are so many times because a friend of ours gave me a good website where you can get like prescription good, like colored contacts as well. And I've stared at them. So I'm like, Jackie, once you open up that pop top can, I will not be able to stop.
I know, it's
can't
so
start
true.
getting colored contacts. I
It's
can't.
so true.
Natalie, I can't.
But I don't look at me. I'm not the one.
You
to
have to
ask
stop
you.
me from doing it.
You think I can control this?
Someone's got to stop me.
I don't know who.
Cosplay is too much fun.
No. And okay, so through all of this, a whole bunch of mythology just came together for me. So Midgard is apparently from archaic Germanic cosmology, which is what they called Earth before we understood geography and the way that the stuff was laid out. So in archaic Germanic mythology, we called Earth Midgard, which I did not know. And guess what the Old English version is pronounced? Middengard. This appears multiple times in Beowulf, which makes me mad at myself for not remembering this because I definitely studied Beowulf a lot in college.
I think you can give yourself some grace of what we don't
I
remember
just
from
graduated.
college. Yeah, I think
It's
it's been a couple of years, girl. I think it's all right.
I haven't lived an entire human's adult life since I graduated. It's fine. I'm bringing this up. Why? Because the Viper Queen is thought to be a reference to Jormungandr.
Say it right, Natalie. This is my past.
Jormungandr.
Thank you.
The Midgard
Because
serpent.
I know how it's properly said.
I don't know, but do you?
Jormungandr. No, I'm
okay. I mean, that's
I feel like as
sounds
Viper
correct.
Queen, like I should know these things.
I feel like that's right.
Jormungandr.
Which is translated to the Midgard serpent from Norse mythology. And what does that look like?
A lot like me.
A lot like the Midgard worm.
No, but if you look up the Midgard worm, actually the Midgard worm is very scary. And hopefully I don't look like that to you, but if I do, good luck.
You're not impressed by the connections.
I'm very impressed. No, that's very crazy. I'm the worm. I'm the worm. What I took from it is I'm the worm.
What?
I'm the worm. Midgard worm. I'm the worm.
Oh my god. So
I'm Jormungandr.
the Old English version of Midgard is Midgard, which is to say that the Midgard
This might be in the
worm
past.
is the Midgard, is from Midgard, perhaps? Just saying.
Whoa.
Some of this stuff, I guess some of these things are referenced in comic books before. Like Marvel has some of this references stuff in it, but that's not my stuff, so I didn't connect it.
I shut off.
Shout out to our research assistant, Jess, for catching some of that.
Jess,
I
you're
hadn't.
the fucking best. This is awesome, though. No, this is very scary. And it also goes to show how early SJM is setting up so much.
That's
so much for
crazy.
the world.
That's
like,
crazy.
She's just, man, what is she good at it or something? Jess, you're killing it.
And anyway, Vipe Queen's got snake eyes.
I wish.
As Bryce and Hunt attempt to act casual at the sight of the infamous Viper Queen, the Queen looks Hunt over like he's a piece of meat himself.
Oh,
it is the meat market.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce placates her when she notices this by saying, "Nothing's going on upstairs, but everything happening where it counts."
Ha!
And he's just like, "Whoa,
What?
This seems to please the Vibe Queen,
Of
and
course it does.
Bryce thinks about how she was actually around during the Angel Uprising that put Hunt in this position. So now we're with Bryce's thoughts in this section, and she's realizing this Viper is old enough to have been in existence when Hunt was captured originally.
Damn.
Though Bryce is attempting to act unbothered, she is very afraid, which makes sense that this lady is in charge of a horror show, and she can do unspeakable things to people who displease her.
Anyone that can rise up the ranks to be any kind of crime boss, I think you should genuinely
Absolutely
be scared of.
Yes, very dangerous.
But it is, I hate to say it's so badass that it's like a fun, hot bitch.
I mean, every single one of us, not all of us, but a lot of us as young people had very toxic crushes, relationships, after Jackie.
What?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
what?
I know, Jackie. I know you're shocked by this because you never did that.
I'm an angel in human skin.
But yeah, this is
Not these kind
it's
of
a
angels,
whole,
though.
It's a whole trope. But so she keeps them there in front of this door, kind of toying with them under the guise of making casual conversation. But she's obviously
Like blocking the door.
she's like not letting them leave, and also kind of analyzing what they're doing there.
Well, I mean, you don't also get to this position without being nosy. I think it's just more surprising that she does some of her own dirty work still. Because can you trust anyone?
Also, I
No.
think she enjoys it. She's
Of
like,
course
she
she
is
does.
sort of just like a cat with a mouse, just like toying with them. Bryce is like, okay, well, bye, see you later. And she tries to bail, but one of the several drugged bodyguards that is with the Viper Queen blocks them both from exiting. Learn that she gets people addicted to her venom,
Cool.
which acts as a sort of what seems like a high-functioning opium or heroin or something.
Which you'd think that, like, I wouldn't want my cronies, like, on heroin or opium. I think I'd want them a little bit more alert than that. But I guess to each their own.
But they do seem like they are. Like, they can physically still be like a
intimidating.
presence, but it kind of leaves people in a daze and very, very addicted, I think was the main issue
Yeah.
with it, is that once you start taking it, your body starts craving it repeatedly. So that's not good.
No.
So the Viper Queen doesn't let them leave. Instead, she sort of insists that Bryce and Hunt follow her to her first floor space, her office-ish, on their way being led down the stairs again. So she's kind of, the Viper Queen's sort of like corralling them back down the steps, and Bryce and Hunt can kind of whisper during that time. Bryce quietly lets Hunt know that she is that she actually was intending to draw the Viper Queen's attention so that they wouldn't have to wait for an appointment for her.
Yeah,
so.
Hunt, it's always intentional with Bryce, and don't you forget it.
So she's essentially saying, yeah, I did this because I knew she would be alerted to it and would show up.
I think it was around this time that I was like, okay, everything you do has, it's like, no, actually, I have like planned this 10 steps ahead. But I think it's something that you, like I've said on previous episodes, that I've gotten to learn and love about Bryce. Because she isn't always right.
No.
And I like that there are times when, she is having a failure.
Aelin is also like that.
Yes.
She's always like planning 12 steps ahead, but then sometimes it goes
like
really
not
badly.
telling. You know what it is? It is my real life of the lack of communication that annoys me. That's not how, you're not effectively communicating, and you probably could get a lot more done if you could just talk about your plan with another person. But I understand. How do you trust?
How do you trust?
How do you trust? And especially where she is right now. And I get that. And especially after reading the books, I understand that with my reread.
Sure. But you're still allowed to be annoyed by her.
A little annoyed by her.
But she says, yeah,
when you look at that ass, but,
Oh, sure. That ass makes up for a lot.
Make up for a lot.
So she says, I wanted to do this, but he's, of course, angry at this trickery, and he tries to assert himself in that moment by telling her he'll ask the questions when they get in the office. No, is all Bryce replies.
Take a hunt.
So the space where the Vipe leads them surprises Bryce. It's next to the market floor, and it looks barely more than a storage room, but I feel like that makes sense because she probably has many spaces, and she's not going to take them to the nicest one, especially like just trying to sort of interrogate them.
If I was the head of the meat market, I would have a spot that was just mine in almost every establishment that I ran.
Right.
Just so I could always have a room to go to have a meeting, right?
Especially because you're not going to take them to your nicest spot.
Hell no.
She's trying to just fuck with them, kind of. So also, perhaps she's in this position late in the layout because it has something to do with the fact that the infamous fighting pits that exist underneath the market are so close that Bryce can hear the screams and roars under their feet.
How else is she supposed to get work done? Some people use white noise.
Right.
Some people like the It's different,
Yeah. Bryce watches the Viper Queen light a cigarette from the shoddy desk in the room and thinks about how this space was far from
anything befitting a serpentine shifter whose snake form was a moon-white cobra with scales that gleamed like opals, and whose power was rumored to be different. Something extra that mixed with her venom. Something strange and old.
Cool snake, bro.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So Vipe cuts to the chase. She knows they're here to discuss Danica. Bryce and Hunt try to shift to a non-accusatory tone, but Vipe isn't worried about being offended. Look, she says, I see why you're asking, but Hunt knows how much I have to work with the Ox members. It's a bit of a symbiotic relationship. I have nothing to gain from her death. Which
is really like the most you could ever ask from the Viper Queen, of like the Viper Queen essentially being like, look, I didn't want her to die. And I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, but just very pragmatic, just being like...
I feel like it's kind of nice. I feel like that's as nice as the Viper Queen can
Right.
get.
She's not saying she wasn't capable of doing it. She just didn't feel like that would benefit her anyway. When they press her about Maximus Tertian, she calls him a, quote, spoiled little bitch, but denies involvement in his death, saying that his father would cause her too much irritation to bother killing his little sex pest son.
I don't have the time to deal with that, Natalie.
Which sounds, I agree, that would be an annoying person to deal with afterwards. But they point out that the night it happened, she had pulled all of her people, aka the people the Vipe Queen keeps indentured servants at best, off the streets. So that's perplexing. They're like, why did you seem like you knew something was going to happen.
Right.
Hunt accuses her of knowing something about the murder. Just a precaution.
She flicked her tongue over her bottom teeth.
Us serps can taste when shit is about to go down. like a charge in the air. I can taste it now, all over the city. She goes to suggest he probably got killed in a bad drug deal. And then she's sort of done with them. She flippantly tosses a thumb drive to them, tells them it's video footage of her alibis during both of the murders. A spa when Tertian was killed, and in the middle of a 3-day orgy during the Pack of Devils demise.
Can we pause for a moment? I mean, how and why and can I get an invite? Or do you think it's too scary of an orgy that I actually wouldn't want to be
I
at
don't
that
know. I
orgy?
feel like it could be really upsetting.
Do you think it would be like a lot more like, you know, like, oh God, I was going to say Sade. That's not what it is. Sade is the singer.
Marquis de Sade.
Yes, Marquis de Sade. Marquis de Sade. Think about how sexy that could be.
No, Marquis de Sade is not sexy.
No. That's what I'm saying. Maybe it would be more of like that kind of like writhing energy of like sex and
pain.
gore and pain.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I feel like, yeah, I don't think it would be my kind of
Not
orgy.
into it. I do love that she just has
Footage of it.
video of it, though.
But also it means that there's probably cameras everywhere in the meat market, which is kind of fun because she's got eyes everywhere, which I think is fun and sexy and scary.
It is. So, zoinks to all that.
Zoinks.
The Viper Queen is an overtly sexual creature, but seems to get away with it more because she's a hot lady. So she's kind of oppressively sexual. And
Why do you think I love this character so much?
I mean, yes, but we're not. To be
I know,
clear,
we don't like her though. We don't like her.
It's also not okay to force your sexuality on people.
No matter what
even
gender
if
you
you're a
are,
hot
no matter,
lady.
you're very, very right. You're very, very right.
But also, who's going
But-
to challenge her when she's being overly aggressive, right? So
Let me dream, okay? I know I don't want it in reality, but can't
Yeah.
a girl dream?
well, that's why the role play stuff works for people
yes,
sometimes.
yes.
Informed consent. Even as Hunt seems incredulous that she just handed him what is essentially a porno of herself, she still stares at his crotch and propositions him. Again, not okay because he's not
No.
interested.
But it's always a no until you ask. But you gotta ask.
It's true. She then goes to offer Bryce a position, I guess we'll call it,
Yeah.
in the meat market. You can read between the lines of what the Viper Queen's offering Bryce, which is essentially a high-end escort that would rake in cash. Hunt seems very angry at this and growls that she is not for sale. Okay, Hunt.
Okay, hun.
Interesting that you're so concerned.
Okay.
Bryce squirms away from the hand that he's put on her shoulder and glares at him. Don't talk
Touch
for
me. Yes, I'm fine. I do not need you to take care of me.
The Viper Queen is totally done with them and tells her thugs to escort them out and drop them off outside the market. Their time is done for the night on her turf, she makes clear.
Away with you.
As Hunt grabs the drive and they make their way for the door, the Viper Queen says to their retreating figures, "Look towards where it hurts the most. That's always where the answers are."
And that's where me and the Viper Queen will never be the same. It's that mystery. It's that intrigue.
Solve me riddles.
Right? I can't speak in riddles, and that will forever be my downfall.
It is the problem.
That's where the answers are. Look to the rock and water. That's it. That's what I would say. So don't listen to me, and if I ever give you a riddle, be like, Jackie, I know that there's nothing. There's no puzzle to be solved.
I mean, you just basically gave somebody a fortune, which you could then send them on a journey of themselves. And
You're
they're like,
right.
is the rock really a rock, or is it
Dwayne Johnson.
the rock?
Or
And I
yeah.
need to watch the Jumanji remake because that's going to tell me that I need to go to the jungle.
We'll also say the Jumanji remake, not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
It's all right.
It was cute.
It's fine.
I mean, it's not the original.
No. So she tells Bryce to look towards where it hurts the most, and she calls it their little investigation, the Viper Queen, as an insult, essentially. But she kind of also gives Bryce this suggestion as though maybe she is trying to help her she can't show that she cares at all.
Right, she doesn't want to show she cares, but she kind of wants to point them in the right direction. But most importantly, she wants to point them in the direction that is away from her. Look somewhere else.
So we cut over to Bryce and Hunt back at Bryce's scooter, and they briefly talk over everything that just occurred. They both agree on something. Nice.
Wow.
The Viper Queen isn't the murderer. But Bryce tells him that she's going to think a bit about the Viper Queen's suggestion to look towards where it hurts the most. 20, we're with Bryce in the basement library of Griffin's, where Bryce is trying to focus on tracing Maximus's movements the weeks leading to his death, while Leheba sits nearby watching a reality show called Fangs and Bangs on its own.
I need Fangs and Bangs so desperately.
I wrote that into the script.
I need Jackie, that's so funny. Immediately after Jackie, I know you're clamoring to. I need it. I need Fangs and Bangs, please.
Yeah. It's not called that, really. I don't think we ever learn the real name for it, but that's what Bryce calls it, teasing Leheba. And she goes, "It's not called that. Stop calling it that." But Bryce is feeling a lot of dread right now. As they sit in this library in the basement of Griffin's Antiquities, she knows that she needs to not only trace Maximus's movements, but she has to trace Danica's too. And that keeps distracting her. She does not want to do it. Of course, we probably all experience that to some level of just trying to push something away. I'm going to table that. We're going to compartmentalize it, and I'll deal with it on another day.
First. Yes.
And she knows that she can't really do that at this point because they're running out of time. It's not helping her focus that Leheba keeps bringing up Hunt and suggesting Bryce invite him in. Bryce makes a very crude joke about Leheba and Hunt not being size compatible.
What?
Which turns Leheba purple with embarrassment.
Their little friendship is so cute.
It is cute. At that moment, Jessica calls and starts chastising Leheba for not working, but Bryce defends her, saying that she's entitled to a 15-minute break.
Thank you, Bryce.
Even though Leheba really is just never working. But whatever, she's enslaved. Like, let her sit
let
around.
her do whatever.
Shortly after this, Bryce is in the main storefront following whatever orders Jessica had just given her on the phone call. Or she's supposed to be doing that. She's sort of just staring off into the distance, feeling sick about having to go through Danica's last whereabouts.
Ugh.
Before she can think too hard about what she's about to do, she grabs her phone and just punches in Hunt's number. He answers immediately. Kind of on edge, confused, because Bryce has never called him before, so he assumes there's some horrible emergency happening.
Don't you feel that way anyone calling you?
Yes.
It's just like, why are you calling me? What happened? What catastrophic event has occurred that you are calling me on the phone?
Yeah, I hate that. But she tells him that she's fine, that she actually needs his help with something.
Whoa.
Before he can even finish asking her about what, he's already pounding on the door to be let in, so he zaps down immediately at her voice. A bit sheepishly, she tells him to just come inside. For a minute, neither of them speak, most likely because they've never been friendly in any way up until this point. But maybe because they'd agreed on the Viper Queen and maybe they had a moment there, or maybe just because Bryce is that alone and scared and doesn't have anyone else. But she's about to ask him something when Leheba begins to knock behind her on the basement door, wanting to help Bryce.
Oh, yeah, she just wants to help.
He's like, "I'm worried.
Hunt's in there?
Yeah. You have to come here because I'm so nervous for you." It's really, of course, because she hears Hunt's voice inside and she got a bigger crush on him. But Bryce is hesitant to let Hunt down to the basement because there are things down there that the Asteria would be pretty pissed about. Hunt promises, however, that he won't report anything back. Resigned, knowing Lily won't stop badgering her if she remains on this floor with Hunt, she opens the door to the library and Lily flies out so fast that she practically bashes into Hunt.
The angel examined the fire sprite hovering a foot away from his face. She was no longer than Bryce's hand, her flaming hair twirling above her head.
"Well, aren't you beautiful?"
Hunt said, his voice low and soft in a way that made every instinct in Bryce sit up straight.
Whoa, Bryce felt a certain
dude.
kind of way about it, huh?
Dude!
She's kind of surprised by this reaction she's had, but she shakes it off and prods Leheba to speak up because suddenly now that she's face to face with Hunt, she's become very quiet.
That's cute.
After Hunt's compliment to her. Hunt lifts a finger, sort of like, it seems like what you would do with a fire sprite instead of like offering your elbow to somebody.
He lifts out a little finger.
He puts his little finger out. And for Leheba to sit upon as they begin to descend into the shadowed sub-level.
So cute.
Lily is over the moon, even as she turns a bright red like a blush. As Bryce leads them down, she turns back to look at the pair, and Hunt gives her a, quote, wry smile. And she kind of thinks about how maybe he is pretty damn good looking.
Interesting. It took this long for you to just kind of start noticing, did ya? Well, she's wrapped up in other things. I understand.
They reach the floor, and Leheba begins to chatter at Hunt, to Bryce's displeasure. She has to tell her to stop almost revealing private information repeatedly, including that Bryce had saved Syrinx from being gifted to a foreign warlord. By Jessica, of course. Before Bryce can stop her, she does get out that Bryce bought Syrinx's freedom. Therefore, his slave tattoo, the SPQM that all of them wear, has been covered over with a C, meaning that servitude is over. So apparently, if you are in slavery and you get freed, you get a stamp over the other tattoo.
It just sucks because then it's always there.
Then I think
And
it's still...
I know that's the point.
Yeah, to still kind of embarrass you,
It's
I guess.
horrible.
They is a free elf.
No! Don't Dobby! Don't Dobby right now!
Buying Syrinx's freedom comes at a cost. Apparently, according to what the information that Leheba lets out, Bryce had to pay 233,000 gold marks to Jessica, which she will continue to owe to her, likely for a few centuries because it is a fortune.
Damn.
Lily goes on to tell him that she costs 90,000 gold marks. When she boldly asks Hunt how much he costs, Bryce tries to shush her because that does seem very rude.
Yeah, I imagine it's a rude question.
But Hunt answers. Micah paid 85 million gold marks to own him.
85 million.
At least you gotta be a little bit flattered, right? We're like, that costs that much money?
Oh, I would hope. I mean, I know I wouldn't go for much on the market. I don't have a lot to give, but I'll make you dinner a lot.
No, you have many things to offer.
Thank you. Thank you. 85 million? 85 million reasons?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's how much I cost. Good luck, everybody.
Would you let somebody purchase you for $85 million? I feel like the person who had that much money is not going to be doing something very nice.
That's the thing, because I feel like it's like, yeah, if it was my husband, he can buy me for $85 million, because then I've got $85 million and I still already want to have sex with him.
Well, also, if you're married, that's both of your money.
Well,
anyway.
but also, I thought you were going to say he already owns me.
Oh, yes, that too. Of course.
No, Jackie, he already owns you. He's your husband. Yeah, you're right.
Right. No, otherwise, though, I feel if though somebody were going to slap that money down, it's not going to end up well for you.
No. If you've got 85 million extra to buy a person, yeah, you're probably not going to use them for good things.
Probably not. As they talk, Hunt comes over to where Bryce is seated.
Hunt dropped into his seat, his wing brushing her arm. Softer than velvet, smoother than silk. He snapped it in tight at the touch, as if he couldn't bear the contact.
I will say that is often how SJM describes how penises feel.
Velvet.
So I think that we're soft as velvet, smooth as silk. I feel as though we are to take from that
I
it
guess
is.
a dick is soft to the touch. I guess I've never thought about it before.
She has
I think it's any
described
softer than anything else.
She has described penises of the characters in these books in those manners.
You're right. Yes, yeah. You are correct.
So I think we're supposed to, and we know that from the Bat Boys' wings, the Farakatar readers, that those are sexual organs in some way. So I think we're to gauge that is a sensual, unintentional sensual touch. So
And he was like, oh no, sorry.
He wants to know why Bryce decided to put herself in such debt to Jessica.
Bryce said,
Because the warlord wanted to hurt and break him until he was a fighting beast. And Syrinx is my friend, and I was sick of losing friends.
Good for you, girl. Good for you.
Well, that is quite revealing to this gruff angel. This is a little bit, she's being a little vulny
Yeah.
in the moment.
Well, also, you got to think she's about to start thinking about going through the last hours of Danica's life. And even just thinking about that, like, you were going to want to have somebody that you can be vulnerable with. So I feel like that is the whole, like, her inviting him in, besides just needing help. I think that she was also being like, can I trust you with my actual vulnerable feelings?
Yeah.
And I think that she's watching this with like the use of Lehaba in this, of like revealing a bunch of stuff that she would rather not be revealed. I think it actually expedites the friendship between Bryce and Hunt that we wouldn't have seen without Lehaba.
Yeah. And we're with Bryce's POV right now, but she watches him watch her, and it's obvious that he's seeing her in a different light at this moment, because as you remember, he's seeing her as like a bratty, drunk party girl. And this is a little bit more of a thoughtful person. So he becomes gentler now in his questioning, and it begins to give Bryce a bit of a panic attack.
Which also I completely understand as someone of like when I first started
like,
feeling real
I
feelings.
don't need anyone. And
spiral.
Yeah.
What if I do? What if I do?
Yeah. So she thinks about how alone she is and how isolated how she has isolated herself after the deaths, even refusing therapy that her mother asked her to go to. She knew the therapy would help, but she wanted to feel the pain.
Ugh.
The only thing that's real.
Oh, yeah. Bringing out all the sexy stops today, Heat Miser.
That's why I come. That's why I come at Christmas time. We know the sexiest holiday.
Yeah, and the sexiest of all things Christmas, the Heat Miser. Oh, that's great.
So she is now feeling the panic rise because Hunt is looking at her with something like concern or even understanding, which she can't handle right now, okay?
Run away.
To get out of the moment, she clicks Lily's tablet back on just in time to where she left off, which happened to be a steamy sex scene between a werewolf and a vampire. Jackie, this show was made for you.
Fangs and bangs, I need it.
This, of course, lightens the mood for everybody, and it embarrasses Lily and declares she's going to go take a nap with Syrinx. As she nestles in with Syrinx, which is so cute. Hunt hears a thud that has him on edge in the room, but it's just Lily informing him that the books are going to try to get into his stuff to escape. So basically it was a book leaping off the shelf trying to slide into his stuff to like get upstairs. So she tells him to don't allow them to follow him up the steps. She yells at the escaping book and then falls asleep with Syrinx using his tail like a fur stole.
So cute.
After answering Hunt's inquiry about all the animals in the tanks down there, Jessica's enemies and former lovers, if you'll recall,
Uh-oh.
she gets to the point of why she asked him to come in the first place. She needs to list out all of the spots Danica went before her death. She quietly asks him if maybe he could question her, that maybe it would help her bring memories up. She doesn't say out loud that she can't make herself do it on her own, but he seems to understand what she's asking. So he starts to just pepper her with like general questions about herself. He wants to know about her studies. And she tells him that she studied the ancient Fey language and ancient art, classic lit major, to be exact, in college. We learn
It
that
gets you almost nowhere. I can attest to it.
So you are just like Bryce.
I know, except if she also had a double major in theater, you know. Another one. Ah, to be or not to be? That's what I remember. That's it. That's all I got. All those years.
So, we also learn in their conversation here that the way that Bryce got this job with Jessica in the first place was through Fury. Fury had worked with Jessica, the mysterious duo. We don't really know much about either of these ladies right now, but they seem to be doing a lot of important
Sexy mystery.
backdoor things.
Yes, it's sexy mystery.
Sexy mystery.
And it's scary sexy mystery, which is my favorite kind of sexy mystery.
Yes. And so it was over in Pangaea, which we have not really learned a lot about yet, another area on Midgard, where Fury and Jespo work together. And Fury got Bryce this job for after her college was done. Because Bryce was having a hard time finding work, apparently. And Hunt kind of then questions, oh, you're friends with Fury? Because Fury is notorious in the world for being a pretty badass assassin.
Hell yeah, dude.
And she's like, yeah. So Hunt's like, do you know what she does? And Bryce is like, let's not go there, man. I don't ask questions.
Really know. I know she's important in some fashion.
She's like,
Honestly, then again, how many friends do you have that you have no idea what they do for a living?
and most of my friends are assassins.
They might be. We have no idea. Are they a comedian or are they assassin? Again, the only two things that someone in Los Angeles can be.
Or like an assassin.
Noise, double the ass, not double the fun.
So she kind of pushes the conversation away from that. And then she starts talking about her family, and we learn that her stepfather, the father who stepped up, we'll say, served in the war. And then we find out all humans have 3 years of mandatory military service in this world, which is bullshit.
Yes. Especially when they don't have the powers that the Veneer have.
Yeah, they use
It's
them
not
as
fair.
a human shield.
Yes, they use exactly, as the pawns against the chess set.
Yes. And so everyone has to serve in the military, but he went further up. He was like very revered in the army. And also we learn that if humans refuse to do that military service, they're considered like they get enslaved, essentially.
It's just y'all with all this slave talk. Can we just get
Can we
rid
not?
of it? Could we not own other things like that?
Bryce thinks about how terrible war is on this planet. Can you imagine like all of our weapons of war in Earth plus like magic powers?
Yeah, insane.
It'd be horrible. She's glad that she doesn't have to go. And I mean, that's reason enough to me to pledge your loyalty to your Fey heritage so you don't have to do the military service.
Not a human. Don't make me do it, please.
She asks him a question, how old he is. 233. And I just realized that's the age that Jessica charged Syrinx for Syrinx. That's the
Whoa.
same. 233.
Why 233?
I don't know, but he's 233 and Syrinx was $233,000. $233,000.
Such
Yeah.
specific numbers.
That's a very
Oh,
specific number.
There has to be a reason.
There has to
to be a reason.
It's very specific if it's a coincidence. So that's interesting. She realizes that made him only 33 when he led the armies against the rebels those centuries before. And he asks if she's ever killed anyone. And we're all a bit shocked when she says yes. We don't learn about what happened at this point, but she has killed someone.
Surprise lit his eyes, but she didn't want to go into it. What had happened with Danica's senior year that had left them both in the hospital, her arm shattered, and a stolen motorcycle little more than scrap.
A wall of memories cascades through Bryce's head, the week following whatever occurred that she's talking about, and her time after recovering with Danica, while the pack of devils babied them while they were healing.
But none of it had compared to what had changed between her and Danica on that trip. The final barrier that had fallen, the truth laid bare. I love you, Bryce. I'm so sorry. Close your eyes, Danica.
So that little paragraph sounds romantic, but we already know that's not their vibe. They weren't in a romantic relationship.
But it also goes to show, honestly, it gives me chills thinking about like that level of friendship.
like the intimacy of it.
Like when you go through something really intense with a friend that maybe you didn't have that relationship with beforehand and how connected you are afterwards.
Sometimes it's too much and then you can't be
And
friends
then you can't look
anymore.
at them, and because your trauma can't allow you to break that boundary ever again, and that's okay too. There's so many things can happen after going through a huge trauma with someone, but in this case, it just brought them like they were like sisters.
Yeah. Despair at these memories threatens to consume Bryce. Hunt seems to see this and goes another direction. He wants to know the happiest memory she has with Danica from the last week that they were together. At least it gets her to shift her attention, and she flounders, trying to bring herself back to the present. She watches him for a moment and then admits probably the tattoos that she and Danica got that week. Bryce was so drunk she barely remembers, which, by the way, not a good idea, kids.
Yeah, no, don't be drunk when you're getting tattoos.
Especially because the kind of tattoo artist that would be willing to tattoo you when you're drunk is
You do
not the
not-
kind you want
No,
tattooing you.
that is something I learned real young. Don't learn it the bad way.
The tattoo, if you'll recall, is talked about at the very beginning of the book, the one across her back. This makes Hunt smile a little, this retelling of the story, and he encourages her to keep going. She begins to list all the happy, silly moments that occurred between them that final week. It's bittersweet, though, and after she's come up with everything she can think of, she feels a bit drained, tells him she's done for the night. Before Hunt can protest, Bryce gets a text. It's from Reen. He tells her to meet him at one of the only places without cameras in Crescent City, Luna's statue, but won't say anything else about what he needs. Bryce and Hunt share a bonding moment at this time when they both agree not to tell Rune that Hunt will be arriving with her, but basically to fuck with Rune. So
Yes.
they're bonding over tormenting Rune.
You know, and any port in a storm when you're just beginning a friendship, you know,
Yeah.
you shouldn't follow that advice.
Uh-huh.
I think it's really cute as we watch them starting to become friends. And I like how they kind of almost take the sensuality of their friendship out of it up top. Even though obviously she is very attracted to him and he is very attracted to her.
But we don't know if they're going to be together.
No, we don't know. We definitely don't know that. We definitely don't know that. But we are definitely going to go see Big Brother Rune. And I'm excited to know more about him.
Me as well.